So, over the past little while, many teachers across the province have been asked or requested or told that they are going to be moving to online teaching. And what does that look like? And what strategies do they have? Today, we're with Shay Frisbee. Shay is a grade 2 teacher in the province. She was a grade 1 teacher last year, and then this year has been moved to be an online teacher in grade 2. Shay and I have connected over the last little while, and I've asked Shay if she has some tips and tricks and ideas for those of us who are moving to teaching online in January or even beyond January. So Shay, welcome here. Thank you for giving up your time. We're so excited to hear some of the tips and tricks and what that looks like. And I guess we would even just start with, how do you schedule a week when you're looking at teaching online?
So I think the first thing to do when you're scheduling is keep it simple. Especially the first week. The first week, you're going to find that it is going to take you 5 days to get your entire class in your platform, whether it's Google Classroom, Brightspace, but the kids are going to need a lot of practice. The families are going to need a lot of practice. So if you're able to keep a routine and have the same thing every day, which is predictable, that's going to help the families and the kids. I'm going to share my screen and show a sample schedule of how I started my online teaching. So here is a sample that I started off with. And what I've done is I've started with whole group classes. So it's not ideal, but it is a way for the kids to become used to Google Classroom. So I have 3 whole group classes, and I made these ones 30 minutes because, again, by the time the kids log in, 10 minutes is gone, especially during the first week. So I have one from 9 to 9:30, and then I think it's really important that the kids have a little bit of off-screen time. So I've given them an hour before they come back. So I did 10:30 to 11. And in this second one, I did a short math lesson with them. And then finally, I did a third one from 12 to 12:30. So again, you'll notice that I put an hour in between where the kids can go off. They can either finish the work we've started in the Google Meet, or they can just have a little bit of downtime. I didn't schedule anything in the afternoon. And of course, this will be district directed sometimes, because you will find on online teaching that a lot of the back end work takes a lot more time than it does in the classroom. So you have to be prepared online. You have to have everything ready to go. It's a lot harder to do stuff on the fly. And when I'm speaking about Div 1 because that's my expertise. I can't speak for junior high and high school because I've never actually taught junior high or high school before. So for your first week back, especially in January, keep it simple. So the first meeting of the day from 9 to 9:30 is our whole class meeting. It's setting the tone for the day. So I talk about maybe some of the activities the kids are going to do. I do games, I do engagement. I like to do word work with the kids because they can bring their whiteboards. Whiteboards will be your lifesaver because they are so easy to show on the screen, and all the kids do is write and show it and then put it down. Jamboard is a new technology. It's fabulous, except with those little ones, it will take you months for them to figure it out. So one of the tools you're going to need when you're teaching online is whiteboards. And I have told my online kids to go to the dollar store, whiteboard, and to buy a black marker because black is the easiest to see. So a lot of the times when I want the kids to show me to answer a question, unmuting mics takes too long. So instead, they do it on their whiteboard. They show it to the screen. I can see it. I can say, great, great, great. Oh, go fix up that capital. And then they put it down and we go on to the next question. So then that way the kids are engaging with me, but it's not necessarily verbally, but they're still getting that immediate feedback, which is super important. So I use the whiteboards in just about every single Google Meet. For the first week back in January, I suggest the whiteboards is your technology. Keep it simple, keep those kids engaged, give lots of fun activities, and keep it short. So one of the things that I've heard a lot from a lot of people, including Chris, is don't go over 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, switch up your activity. And so you'll notice when I first did my schedule that my sessions are 30 minutes long. That's because it's going to take a long time for those kids to figure out how to log in, figure out how to unmute, figure out how to turn their cameras on. And so a lot of your time is just going to be classroom management. Once the kids start to get a little bit more proficient, you can start to make your sessions a little bit shorter. And so that's where I've gone from whole class sessions, which we did back in October, to, so this is what my schedule looks like now, because I've been doing online learning since the last week of September. You will see that I've kept my whole class Google Meet in the morning, again, to set the tone and also so the kids can see everybody in their class. Now I've moved into small groups. So I have 27 kids this year, 26 kids this year online. So what I've done is I've grouped them into ability groups, just because that's the easiest online. And I have 4 math groups. Each of these are only 20 minutes long. That's it. We usually get about 2 activities done, and then I move on to the next math group. A hint, make sure you give yourself 5 minutes minimum in between your groups. The first time I did this, I left no time. And after one day, I'm like, no, this is it. I can't do this, because you always have that one kid that wants to talk to you. You always have that one kid who's logged into the wrong group, so you have to tell them to come back to the next group. So you always have those tech issues. And you also need that breather, just because online it's a lot more challenging than in the classroom. So I have my math groups, and I have them 20 minutes back to back with 5 minutes in between. And then I move on to language arts groups. And this is where I do my reading and writing. A lot of the time I'm doing the same lesson, but I'm differentiating it for the groups. So I usually start with my high group, and then I work down to my lower kids that need a little bit more of grade 1 review than they do the grade 2 stuff. I become a rock star by the 4th lesson. My first group, thank goodness they're my high kids, because you're figuring things out, and then the next session I figure out, oh, I can do this better, so I do a little switch on how I explain something. So you get really good when you repeat the same lesson 4 times. Then what I've started to do is, and I just introduced this a couple weeks ago, is I've introduced an afternoon group. Because I'm finding the asynchronous work is really, really hard for those young kids, especially if they don't have the parental support. And so I would rather they be with me. So I've introduced some social groups in the afternoon, but I don't want the kids to come with me every day. So I put them into 2 groups to keep the groups a little bit smaller. And I have group 1 comes on a Monday, Wednesday schedule, and a group 2 comes on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. And I just started this week. And it has made a world of difference. The kids are at least beginning to understand the social concepts. And then the rest of my afternoon is either I'm marking assignments, I'm providing feedback, or I'm preparing for the next day. If the kids wanted to, they could email me and ask for help. So I have that time in the afternoon to provide that extra support. Then on Fridays, I make my Friday schedule a little bit different, because I think the one-on-one time with kids is so important, and they need that connection. So on Fridays, I start my morning off with a whole group again, just to start the day off. And then the rest of the day is spent with one-on-one 10-minute sessions. Now with my one-on-ones, I don't leave 5 minutes in between, because it's very easy to log off, log into the next. But I do give myself every hour 10 minutes, just so I can write notes, I can take a breather before I start the next round of 4 kids. So I do 4 kids, 10 minutes back to back, take a 10-minute break. And my kids have told me that these one-on-one sessions are their favorite. They love coming to the one-on-one. And I work them. We work hard, we read, but they do love them, and they look forward to them. I would not recommend for the first week in January doing one-on-one groups. I would stick to the whole groups, make it simple. But if to continue with online learning, then the following week start adding small groups. Once the kids figure out the small groups, then the following week start adding one-to-ones, or do the reverse, do one-to-ones first and then do small groups. But don't try to do everything all at once. For the groups, it depends how you do this. For Google Meets, I have to give the kids codes. So up here, I took my codes out, but up here are the codes on my schedule, so the kids can see, so the kids have it right in front of them what the code is they need to enter. Another thing that I have found that helps the families is posting the schedule at the same time every week. So every week I have it up in my Google Classroom at 4 o'clock on Thursday. So that gives them Friday to look at it, and it also gives them time to plan the following week if I've made any changes. Underneath my math groups are the names of the kids that belong to that group. So all the information is in one spot, and the parents don't need to go searching in different areas of Google Classroom to find what they need.
Can you, so when your students are not with you, are there activities that they should be working on independently, or what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes in the math group, we're playing a game, and that's where I use the smart learning. So it's interactive. So the kids are not just sitting and listening to me. They are either using the whiteboards or they have their 10 frames in front of them and they're showing me the answer. So either I'm playing a game or I'm teaching them a concept. And then in Google Classroom, I posted an assignment for them to go do afterwards. On Mondays, I also try to post quite a few assignments that they have the whole week to work on. So I give them a weekly art project. So they can go work on their art project when they're not with me. I give them a lot of review for grade 1 concepts because of that emergency remote learning. So they can go do those review activities where they're watching videos, listening to songs. A weekly math activity where they're practicing the skills. So they have a lot of work to do outside of the Google Meet time, but I've had to keep it, for my group anyways, I've had to keep it very, very simple. That I find I can't introduce new concepts with the asynchronous work. I need to keep it something that either I've taught them or it's a review from the previous year.
Jay, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited that you're willing to share your knowledge and what you've learned this year. I know through the many conversations that you and I have had that we want to encourage teachers. This is hard work. It really is. And if you get frustrated and you're just feeling like you're not doing the best job that you can be doing, know that you're not alone. That teachers across the province are saying that we miss our kids. We want to be in classrooms with our kids, and that we know that we're serving the kids to the best of our ability right now. And we're excited to be back in classes with at one point, but do the best that you absolutely can. And Shay, thank you for sharing your examples of how you're scheduling. I know that there's teachers across the province I'll be excited to utilize and share in your experiences. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.